My dear friend, welcome. I'm really glad you're here tonight. You do not have to figure everything out right now. You do not have to replay the day that is behind you, and you do not have to carry the weight of whatever tomorrow might hold. For the next little while, there is nothing to solve and nothing to prove. There is only a slow road to walk, one quiet step at a time, and a gentle voice to keep you company while you walk it. Today I want to take you through a single journey that is woven out of 10 small stories. 10 quiet movements, each one a kind of comfort folded inside a strange and shining picture. They come from the last book of the Bible, the book of Revelation, a book that so many people imagine as nothing but thunder and fear. And yet, when you lean in close and let it breathe, it turns out to be something far gentler than its reputation. Underneath the great images, it is a long letter of comfort written to weary people, promising them again and again that God is near. So, if you have come here tired tonight, you have come to the right place. You do not need to bring anything with you. You do not need to be at your best, or to have your thoughts in order, or to have anything figured out. You can come exactly as you are, as worn and weary as the day has made you, and simply let yourself be carried for a while. This is not a lesson you have to pass. It is a road you get to rest on. There will be no test at the end, and nothing you are expected to do, except to breathe a little slower and let the words wash over you, and slowly, gently let go. We will begin on a lonely island with an old man and a voice behind him. We will stand before 7 golden lamps, and then we will listen as that same voice bends low to speak tenderly to 7 small and struggling churches. We will be lifted through an open door into a throne room full of light, and there we will meet a lamb who is somehow stronger than any lion. We will watch 7 seals loosen and 7 trumpets sound far away, and we will see a woman and a dragon and a city built on pride that finally falls. We will witness a king come home on a white horse, and at the very end, when the long night of the world is over, we will arrive at a new heaven and a new earth, a city of gold with a clear river running through it, where every tear is finally wiped away. You do not need to follow every single word. You only need to listen, and to let the pictures drift past you the way scenes drift by in a slow dream. Let the final book of Scripture take you by the hand and lead you, kindly and without any hurry at all, toward the stillness where rest begins. And before we step into the first of these stories, let me give you one more thing to hold, a kind of key that fits every door we are about to open. This is a book full of sevens, 7 churches, 7 seals, 7 trumpets, 7 bowls, 7 stars, 7 lamps. And in the old way of speaking, 7 was never just a number you counted to. 7 meant wholeness. It meant completeness. It meant a thing brought all the way to its fullness, the way a week is brought to fullness on the 7th day, the day of rest. So every time you hear the number 7 tonight, you can hear underneath it a quiet promise that nothing here is partial, nothing is left half finished, that whatever God begins, He carries all the way through to completion. The 7 churches are every church. The 7 seals are the whole story of the world, and the rest that waits at the end of all the 7s is a rest that is whole and complete and meant for you. There is one more gentle thing to know. This book does not move forward in a straight line, the way we usually expect a story to move. It circles back. It tells the same truth again and again, each time from a slightly different angle, the way you might walk around, something beautiful to see it from every side. The seals and the trumpets and the bowls are not 3 separate disasters piled one on top of another until you can hardly breathe. They are 3 tellings of one story, drawing closer each time to the same ending, the same homecoming, the same wiping away of every tear. So if it ever feels like we are circling, that is because we are on purpose, gently, the way you circled down into sleep. Each turn brings you a little lower, a little closer to rest. So let us begin where it begins, with a man who had lost almost everything, and the gentle word that changed the meaning of his loss. Far out in the Aegean Sea, there is a small rocky island called Patmos. It is a place of stone and sea wind, of low hills and quiet shores, the kind of place where the world feels very far away and the sky feels very close. On that island, long ago, an old man was living in exile. His name was John. He had once walked beside Jesus along dusty roads. He had leaned close to him at a table on the last night they shared bread together. But now his friends were scattered or gone. His city was far behind him across the water, and he was alone with the waves and the wind and the enormous silence of the sea. It was on a quiet day of worship, when most people would have expected nothing at all, that heaven opened to him, and what he saw, he wrote down, so that we could see it too, all these centuries later, lying in the dark and longing for the same comfort he was given. Think for a moment about where John was when this happened, because it matters. He had not been taken up to a mountaintop in a moment of triumph. He had not been surrounded by friends and crowds and the warmth of belonging. He was an old man, sent away, exiled, separated from everyone he loved because of what he believed and would not stop saying. By every measure the world uses, his life had narrowed down to almost nothing: a rock in the sea, the sound of the waves, and the long, empty hours that loneliness always brings. And it was exactly there, in that narrowed-down place, that heaven chose to open. Not in spite of his exile, but right in the middle of it. The door in heaven opened over the smallest, loneliest, most forgotten corner of the empire. There is something in that for anyone who feels far from where they wanted to be tonight. Heaven does not wait for your life to be impressive before it opens. It does not require you to be surrounded by people, or successful, or strong. It came to a lonely old man on a rock in the sea, and the very first word it spoke to him was comfort. So if your own life feels narrowed down right now, if you feel set apart or left behind, or simply alone in the dark, know that this is precisely the kind of place where the door in heaven has always loved to open. People often ask what the book of Revelation really means. They hear of seals and trumpets, of a beast and a great battle, and they wonder whether the whole thing was written to frighten them. So let this be the very first gentle thing you carry with you tonight, the thread to hold as everything else unfolds. The word revelation does not mean a hiding. It means an unveiling. It is the drawing back of a curtain so that you can finally see. The book was given in its own words to show what is true and to comfort believers who were tired and afraid, who felt small beneath an empire that seemed like it would last forever. Underneath the dragons and the thunder, the message is simple, and it is kind. God is on the throne, the Lamb has already won, and love outlasts every empire that ever rose and crumbled into dust. This is why we can read even the talk of the end of the world without fear. The frightening pictures are never the point of the book. They are only storm clouds, and storm clouds are always passing. What the vision moves toward, again and again and again, is light. A city with no more night, a river clear as crystal, a tree whose leaves are for the healing of the nations. So as we go through the 7 seals and the sounding trumpets and the strange and shining beasts, keep remembering where it is all going. It is going home, and it begins, as it should, with a voice. John hears a voice behind him, and it is deep and warm, like the sound of many waters, like a great river moving somewhere in the dark. He turns to see who could possibly be speaking to him on this empty island. And there, standing among 7 golden lampstands, he sees one like a son of man. His robe reaches to his feet, a golden sash crosses his chest, his hair is white as wool, white as snow, the white of someone older than time itself. His eyes are like a quiet flame. His face shines the way the sun shines at the warmest part of the day, the kind of warmth you can feel on your closed eyelids. Overwhelmed, John falls down at his feet as though he had fallen asleep. And the figure of light reaches out and lays a hand upon him, as gently as you would steady a frightened child who has woken in the night, and speaks the words that begin everything that follows. Do not be afraid. Notice the very first thing this glorious, overwhelming figure chooses to do. He tells a trembling man not to be afraid. That single tenderness is the key that unlocks the whole book. Everything strange and shining that follows, the seals, the trumpets, the beast, the new heaven and the new earth, all of it rests upon those 4 soft words. Do not be afraid. The one John sees as Jesus, the same gentle friend he had walked beside, now shone in his full radiance, but no less kind for being radiant. The white hair speaks of a wisdom older than the stars. The eyes like flame speak of a love that sees everything about you, every hidden corner, and still draws near instead of pulling away. And notice where this figure is standing. He stands in the middle of 7 golden lampstands, and we are quietly told that these lampstands are 7 small churches, ordinary little gatherings of tired and ordinary people. So the truth here is tender and plain. The risen Lord is not far off in some distant, unreachable heaven. He walks among his people in the middle of the room, holding their light. He keeps 7 stars in his right hand, and we are told the stars are the messengers who watch over each little church, held safe, never dropped, never let go. Whatever else this book is going to show you, it opens by promising that you are held. You are known and you are kept through every dark hour by hands that simply will not let go of you. And there is more to this figure than even his radiance. Out of his mouth comes a sharp, 2-edged sword, which sounds frightening until you understand it. The sword is not a blade for cutting people down. It is his word, the truth that divides what is real from what is false, the kind of truth that can cut away everything in you that does not belong, gently, like a surgeon and not like a soldier. In his hand he holds the keys of death and of Hades. Think about that for a moment. Slowly, the thing every human being has feared since the beginning of time, the locked door at the end of every life, the one no one has ever been able to open from the inside. He holds the keys to it. He has been through that door himself. I was dead, he says to John, and behold, I am alive forevermore. He is not speaking about death from the outside, the way the living speak nervously about something they have never faced. He is speaking about it from the far side, as one who walked all the way into it and came back out, carrying the keys. I am the first and the last, he says. I am the living one. And so whatever has frightened John on that lonely island, whatever has frightened you in the long hours of this night, it is bracketed on both sides by him. He was there before it began, and he will be there after it ends. And he holds the keys to the one door you cannot open yourself. There is nothing left in the universe that can have the final say over you, because the one who has the final say is standing here with his hand laid gently on your shoulder, telling you not to be afraid. So let those 4 words settle into you before we move on. Do not be afraid, he says it to John, and through John, across all the distance of time, he says it softly to you. Whatever you carried into this night, you can set it down here, at the feet of the one who holds the stars and walks among the lamps. He is not a stranger. He is the friend who once leaned close at the table, shown now in his full glory, but no less the friend for being glorious. The hands that hold the stars are the same hands that broke bread and washed feet and reached out to lepers no one else would touch. The eyes like flame are the eyes that wept at a friend's grave. He is everything you would ever need a God to be, and everything you would ever hope a friend could be, both at once, standing among the lamps, holding the light, refusing to let it go out. From that first gentle word of courage, the same voice now grows quieter still and more personal, and it begins to turn, one by one, towards 7 small and weary gatherings of people who needed to hear their own names spoken in the dark. The voice that had filled the whole island now bends close, the way a parent leans low to speak to a single child who cannot sleep. And it begins to speak, not in a thundering decree, but in 7 tender and exact letters, to 7 little flames flickering in a darkened world. 7 churches scattered across an ancient land, each one tired in its own way, each one held in his hand. And every single letter begins with the same quiet assurance. I know your works. I know your love and your patience, your weariness and the hardness of your days. Let those 2 small words stay with you tonight, because they are meant for you as much as for them. There is one who knows your faithfulness and your struggle, who knows the effort no one else ever sees, who knows your name and has not forgotten it. Picture the 7 cities by lamplight, Ephesus, busy and tired, working so hard it had nearly forgotten why. Smyrna, poor in the eyes of the world and afraid of what was coming. Pergamum, dwelling in a place where the shadows fell deep. Thyatira and Sardis and Philadelphia and Laodicea, 7 little towns falling asleep under the same wide sky you are resting beneath right now. To each of them the voice speaks, and through them softly, it speaks to all of us. Because there is a gentle secret folded into these 7 letters. They are not only 7, they are also 1. The number 7, all through this book, means wholeness, completeness, the full circle of a thing. So these 7 churches are every church, in every age, and somewhere among them, all of us are written in. The believers at Ephesus had grown strong and careful, and very good at their work. Yet somewhere along the way they had let their first love cool, the way a fire burns down until only glowing coals remain. To them the voice does not scold, it simply remembers with them. The way an old friend might say, "Do you recall how it used to be between us?" And it says gently, "Return. Come back to the love you had at the beginning. The fire is not gone, it only needs tending." Smyrna was poor and frightened of the suffering that lay ahead. And to them he says nothing about money at all. He only tells them that they are rich, richer than they know, and that they need not be afraid of what is coming, because nothing that comes can touch the deepest thing they carry. Pergamum and Thyatira were living surrounded by things that could pull them away, pressures and temptations woven into the very air they breathe. Yet still he calls them by name. Still he holds the door open. Still he speaks to the faithful ones among them as if they were precious, because they are. Sardis had a reputation for being alive, while something inside had quietly gone to sleep. And to them comes the gentlest of wake-up calls, not a punishment, but an invitation to rouse themselves and strengthen what still remains, because not everything is lost, and what remains is worth keeping. Philadelphia was small and weak, the kind of church that might have felt it hardly mattered at all. And to them comes the kindest line of the whole set. He tells them he has set before them an open door that no one can shut. Their smallness does not disqualify them. Their weakness does not lock them out. The door is open, and it will stay open, and no power on earth can close it. And Laodicea, comfortable and unaware, sure that it needed nothing, here's the most beautiful invitation in the entire book. "Behold," he says, "I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come into him, and I will share a meal with him, and he with me." He does not break the door down. He does not force his way in. He stands and he knocks, and he waits to be welcomed, like the most patient guest who ever loved anyone. And think about where the door is. He is on the outside, knocking to come in. This is a letter to a church, to people who imagine themselves already on the inside, already fine, already needing nothing, and yet there he is, standing at the door, gently asking to be let into the very lives that assumed he was already there. It is such a humble image of God, not battering the door, not shaming them for shutting him out, not even raising his voice, just knocking and waiting with all the patience of someone who has all the time in the world and would rather be invited than force his way in. And the thing he asks for, once the door is opened, is not a performance or a payment. It is a meal, to sit down at the table together, the oldest and warmest picture of friendship there is. He does not want to inspect you. He wants to eat with you. He wants the long, unhurried closeness of a shared table, the kind where no one is in a rush and there is nothing to prove. So listen, in the quiet of tonight, for that gentle knocking. It may be the softest sound in the whole book, easy to miss under all the thunder, but it might be the truest wherever you have assumed the door was already open, or assumed he had given up and gone away. He is still there, still knocking, still wanting in, still hoping for nothing more dramatic than to share a meal with you. The door has a handle only on your side. He will not force it. He will simply keep knocking, patiently, lovingly, for as long as it takes. Notice what every one of these letters shares. Each one ends not with a threat, but with a promise to the one who keeps going. The hidden bread, a white stone with a new name written on it, a name known to no one but the one who receives it. The morning star, a place at the table, the right to walk in white. These are gifts whispered into the dark, small and kept and meant for you. Linger for a moment on that white stone with the new name, because it is one of the most personal promises ever made. A new name written on a stone, known to no one in all the world but the one who receives it. Think of what that means. There is a name for you that only God knows, a name that is the truest thing about you, the name that captures who you really are underneath everything that has ever been said about you, every label other people have stuck on you, every harsh thing you have ever believed about yourself in the dark. The world has called you many things. You have probably called yourself a few unkind things too, late at night when you were tired and discouraged. But none of those is your real name. Your real name is the one written on the white stone, the one God Himself has chosen for you, the name that says exactly who He made you to be and exactly how He sees you. And one day He will give it to you, privately, just the two of you, like a secret kept between people who love each other. That is how well you are known. That is how tenderly you are seen, not as a number, not as a category, but as a single, particular, irreplaceable soul with a name that belongs to no one else. And the message beneath them all is steadying and sure. The one who walks among the lampstands sees every faithful soul exactly as they are, loves them still, and holds for each of them something good, waiting just ahead in the dark. So if tonight you feel like Ephesus, worn down by all your working, hear the invitation to come home to your first love. If you feel like Smyrna, poor and afraid, hear that you are rich and need not fear. If you feel like Sardis, asleep without realizing it, hear the gentle call to wake. And if you feel like Laodicea, sure that you need nothing, listen for the knocking at the door, because it is for you, and the one knocking only wants to come in and stay. And there is one more thing about these letters worth lingering over, because it is so easily missed. To every church, even the ones being corrected, even the ones who have drifted and grown cold and lukewarm, the voice still calls them His. He does not write off Ephesus for losing its first love. He does not abandon Sardis for falling asleep. He does not slam the door on Laodicea for being so comfortably sure of itself. He corrects them the way a parent corrects a child they have no intention of giving up on. As many as I love, He says to the most self-satisfied church of all, I reprove and discipline. Even the hardest word in these letters is wrapped inside the word love. The correction is not the opposite of His affection. It is the proof of it. He bothers to speak honestly to them, precisely because He is not finished with them. And to every single one of them, the ending is the same shape. To the one who overcomes, to the one who keeps going, not to the one who was strongest, or purest, or most impressive, but simply to the one who did not give up. The promise is never given to the people who had it all figured out. It is given to the ones who held on. The one who overcomes will eat from the tree of life. The one who overcomes will not be hurt by the second death. The one who overcomes will be given the morning star, and a new name, and a place at the table, and a seat beside the king on his own throne. These are not rewards for the elite. They are gifts held out to ordinary, struggling people who simply refuse to let go of the hand that was holding them. So you do not have to be a hero tonight. You do not have to have done everything right. You only have to be among the ones who keep going, who hold on, who even in their weakness and weariness and fear, do not finally let go. And if that is you, then every one of these promises is written in part to you. The tree of life, the morning star, the open door, the seat at the table, the new name that only you will ever know, all of it waiting just ahead for the one who overcomes, which is only ever a tender way of saying, for the one who stays. From these small lamplit rooms with their promises whispered into the dark, the vision now lifts upward. The letters are finished. The little cities sink down into the stillness of the night, and far above the flickering lamps, a door is standing open in heaven itself. A voice like a trumpet calls out, "Come up here," and John feels himself drawn upward, gently and without effort, toward a light that does not flicker and never goes out. So let yourself be drawn up too. Let your breathing slow. There is a throne ahead, and around it, only peace. And notice the very first thing about this next part of the vision, because it sets the tone for everything that follows. It is a door, standing open in heaven. Not a wall, not a locked gate, not a barrier you have to batter your way through or earn your way past. An open door with a voice on the other side of it saying, "Come up." We so often imagine heaven as something sealed off and far away, a place we might reach someday if we are good enough, a place that keeps its distance. And the vision quietly corrects that the moment it begins. The door is already open. The invitation has already been spoken. The way up is not blocked. So as you let yourself be drawn upward now, do not go as a stranger slipping in unnoticed, hoping not to be caught. Go as someone who has been invited, someone the voice was calling all along, someone for whom the door was left standing open on purpose. At the center of everything stands a throne, and someone is seated upon it. The one on the throne shines like jasper and carnelian, like the warm glow of a precious stone held up to a lamp. Around the throne curves a rainbow, soft as the green of an emerald, an arc of color resting calm and unbroken in the air. Do not pass too quickly over that rainbow, because it is no accident that it is there. A rainbow all the way back in the oldest stories was the sign of a promise, the sign God gave after the great flood, a pledge written across the sky that the waters would never again swallow the world, that mercy would always have the last word over judgment. And here, encircling the very throne of God, is that same rainbow, not fading after the storm this time, but permanent, wrapped around the throne forever. The promise is not an afterthought tucked away in the clouds. It is built into the architecture of heaven itself, surrounding the seat of all power. Before you ever hear a single word about seals or trumpets or judgment, you are shown a throne ringed with the color of mercy. Whatever comes next, it comes from a throne that wears a promise like a crown. Around this throne are 24 other thrones, and on them sit 24 elders, dressed in white, with crowns of gold upon their heads. From the throne come flashes of light and low rolling sounds, like distant weather that can be heard, but can never quite reach you where you lie. Before the throne, 7 lamps are burning, and spread out in front of it all is what looks like a sea of glass, clear as crystal, perfectly still. Around the throne are living creatures, and they do not stop, day or night, saying the same words over and over. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. There are 4 of these living creatures, and they are strange and wonderful, each one full of eyes, before and behind, so that nothing is ever hidden from them, and nothing ever takes them by surprise. One is like a lion, and one like an ox, and one has a face like a man, and one is like an eagle in flight, as though all the strength and patience and wisdom and swiftness of every living thing were gathered up around the throne to praise the one who made them. They have 6 wings each, and they never rest, but their restlessness is not the anxious, exhausted restlessness we know so well. It is the tireless joy of beings who have looked upon perfect goodness and cannot stop saying so. Holy, 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 they are not afraid of the one on the throne. They are caught up in him, the way you might lose all track of time before something so beautiful that you forget to do anything but look at it. Let those words move through you like a slow tide coming gently in. Holy, holy, holy. And the elders lay their golden crowns down before the throne, and they say that he is worthy, the one who made all things, who made you, who keeps the breath moving softly in and out of your chest even now, in this very moment, without your having to think about it at all. Think of what it means that the elders cast their crowns down. A crown is the highest thing a person can be given, the symbol of everything they have achieved and everything they have been honored for. And in the presence of the throne, they do not clutch their crowns tighter. They lay them down, not because the crowns are taken from them by force, but because, in the light of that throne, holding on to them would feel almost absurd, like clinging to a candle at noon. Everything they were ever proud of becomes a small and joyful gift to lay at his feet. And there is a deep rest hidden in that gesture, a rest you can borrow tonight. You do not have to hold tightly to your achievements, or your reputation, or the long list of things you have done and left undone. You can lay them down. In the presence of the throne, you do not need them to prove that you matter. You already matter simply because the one on the throne made you and delights in you and keeps your breath moving in and out even as you fall asleep. Let me draw out what this throne room means quietly so you can hold it as you rest. It is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to settle your heart. Remember where John is. He is an old man, far from home, exiled on a small island, surrounded by an empire that looked utterly unshakable, an empire that demanded loyalty and worship and seemed like it would rule forever. And the very first thing he is shown is not the empire. It is the throne. The message is simple and tender. Whatever feels loud and large and immovable in your life tonight, there is a throne above it, and the throne is not empty. Someone is seated there, full of light and peace, and that someone is good. And the sea of glass carries its own quiet meaning. In the old stories, the sea was restless and full of storms, the ancient picture of all that is chaotic and uncertain and frightening, everything that threatens to pull you under. But here, before the throne of God, that same sea lies still as glass. The storms have lain down. That is the promise being offered to you in this moment. The waters can be calm. The thing you fear can grow quiet. There is a stillness deeper than the storm, and it is real. Then a deeper hush falls. There is a scroll, sealed with 7 seals, and somehow it holds the whole purpose of history, the meaning behind everything that has ever happened and everything that ever will. And at first, no one is found worthy to open it. No one in heaven, no one on earth, no one anywhere can break even one of its seals. And John, who has already lost so much, begins to weep. He weeps because it seems that the meaning of everything might stay sealed forever, that all the suffering might never be explained, that the story might have no key. But one of the elders leans toward him and says, "Do not weep. Look, the Lion of the tribe of Judah has triumphed. He is worthy. He can open it." And John turns, expecting to see a lion, expecting power and teeth and a roar that shakes the heavens. And what he sees instead is a lamb, gentle, standing, bearing the marks of having been wounded, and yet alive. Stay with John's tears for just a moment, because they are more than ancient history. He wept because it seemed the meaning of everything would stay locked away forever. And how many of us have wept that very same kind of tears, the tears that come not from one particular sorrow, but from the fear that none of it makes sense, that the suffering has no purpose, that the scroll of our own lives will never be opened and explained, that we will go to the grave, never knowing what any of it was for. That is a real grief, and the vision does not scold John for feeling it. It simply answers it. Do not weep, the elder says. There is one who is worthy. There is one who can open the scroll. Your life is not a sealed book that will stay shut forever. The meaning is not lost. It is only held, for now, in hands you can trust, waiting for the right moment to be opened. And then comes the turn that changes everything, the turn at the very heart of the universe. He is told to look for a lion, and he sees a lamb. He is promised power, and he is given gentleness. The strength that conquers in this book is never the strength of teeth and claws. It is the strength of a love willing to be wounded. That is the answer to John's tears, and it is the answer to yours. The one who holds the meaning of your life is not a force that crushed its way to the top. He is the Lamb who was slain, who knows what it is to suffer, who opens the scroll not with a roar but with wounded hands. You can trust a meaning held in hands like those. This is the very center of the whole book, the heart of everything. The power that holds the universe together does not look in the end like a roaring lion at all. It looks like a lamb. It looks like self-giving love. It looks like a gentleness willing to lay its own life down and then rise again. The one strong enough to unseal the meaning of all things is the one tender enough to be wounded in your place. Strength and tenderness are not two different things in him. They are one and the same. And when the Lamb takes the scroll into his wounded hands, all of heaven breaks into a new song. Worthy is the Lamb. The 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fall down, and each of them holds a harp and golden bowls full of incense. And we are told that the incense is the prayers of the saints, the prayers of ordinary people like you, gathered and held and treasured before the throne. Then the voices multiply 10,000 times 10,000, thousands upon thousands, until every created thing in heaven and on earth and under the earth and in the sea is singing the same thing together. To him who sits on the throne and to the Lamb be blessing and honor and glory forever. You do not have to understand every seal tonight. You do not have to crack the meaning of history before you fall asleep. You only have to rest in the arms of the one who is worthy to open them, the Lamb who was wounded, who holds the scroll, who holds your prayers, and who holds you. And from the singing of that great multitude, with the prayers of the saints rising like soft incense, the Lamb steps forward, the scroll in his wounded hands, and slowly, gently, he begins to break the first of its 7 seals. Whatever the scroll holds, it is held first by hands that were wounded for love of you. So you can watch what comes next, the way you might listen to distant thunder from a warm and sheltered room, knowing that it cannot reach you here, that you are safe inside while the weather passes over. As the seals are loosened, horses go out across the long story of the world. A white horse, and then a red, then a black, then a pale one. They move through all the things the earth has always known, the reach for conquest, the breaking of peace, the scarcity of bread, and at last the long shadow of death that touches every age. The first rider goes out on a white horse with a bow in his hand, and a crown given to him, riding out to conquer the restless human hunger to win, to take, to expand, to be greater than the one beside us. The second rider comes on a red horse, and to him is given the power to take peace from the earth and to make people turn against one another, the terrible old story of war that every generation seems to have to learn again. The third rider comes on a black horse with a balance, a set of scales in his hand, and a voice cries out the price of wheat and barley, the picture of scarcity and hunger, of food weighed out carefully because there is not enough, while the oil and the wine of the comfortable are spared. And the fourth rider comes on a pale, sickly horse, and his name is Death, and the grave follows close behind him, the shadow that has fallen across every family that has ever lived. You have seen these things from afar, in the news and in history, and sometimes in your own life. Tonight you only watch them quietly, from a place of safety, and you do not have to carry a single one of them. These four riders are not new. They are not some future horror invented to frighten you. They are the world you already know, the world that has always been this way, named honestly and laid out in the open. And the strange comfort of seeing them ride out from beneath the broken seals is this: they do not ride on their own authority. They ride only when the Lamb opens the seal. Even the hardest things in the world are not loose and lawless and beyond all reckoning. They are held within a story that has an author, and the author is the Lamb who was slain. Beneath an altar, faithful souls ask gently, "How long? How long until everything is set right?" And each of them is given a white robe and told to rest just a little longer. That cry, "How long?" is one of the most human sounds in the whole book, and one of the most honest. It is the cry of everyone who has ever waited for justice that did not come quickly. Everyone who has ever looked at the slowness of the world and wondered whether the wrong would simply be allowed to stand forever. How long the vision does not rebuke that cry. It does not tell them to be quieter, or more patient, or more grateful. It honors the question, and then it does two gentle things in answer. It gives each of them a white robe, a sign that they are already honored, already counted among the pure, even before the final setting right has come. And it tells them simply to rest a little longer, not to strive, not to take matters into their own hands, just to rest a little longer, while the story finishes the way it is going to finish. That word, rest, spoken to souls who are still waiting for everything to be made right, is a word for you tonight too. You do not have to have all your questions answered before you are allowed to rest. You do not have to see how it all works out before you can close your eyes. The faithful souls beneath the altar still had their great question unanswered, and still they were given robes, and still they were told to rest. So can you rest a little longer? The setting right is coming. It is not yours to force. You are allowed to lay it down and wait in peace. Then the sky itself seems to fold back like a scroll being rolled up. The sun grows dim. The stars come home like figs falling in a soft wind. It sounds vast and overwhelming, and yet all of it is gathered into the hand of the one who loves you. And in that great shaking, John sees something that turns the whole world upside down from the way we usually imagine it. The powerful people of the earth, the kings and the generals, the rich and the strong, the ones who have always seemed untouchable, are running to hide. They call out to the mountains and the rocks to fall on them and cover them. And what they are hiding from is not what you might expect. They are not hiding from the wrath of a tyrant. They are hiding from the face of the Lamb, the gentlest thing in the universe, the Lamb who was slain, the one who would not lift a hand to harm, turns out to be the one thing that the proud and the cruel cannot bear to stand before. Not because he is terrifying, but because his goodness lays everything bare. To a heart that has built its whole life on power and pride, perfect gentleness is the most exposing thing there is. But here is the quiet mercy hidden in that frightening scene. The thing the proud run from is the very thing the weary run toward. The same face that the kings of the earth cannot bear to look upon is the face the multitude in white longs to see. The Lamb is not different for the powerful and the humble. He is the same Lamb. It is only that gentleness feels like judgment to the heart that loves its own power, and feels like home to the heart that has laid its power down. So you do not have to be afraid of that face tonight. If you come to it weary and small and willing to be loved, it is the kindest face you will ever see. so let the weight slide off your shoulders. None of this is yours to carry, and the meaning beneath these images is far gentler than they first appear. The four horsemen are not a countdown ticking down toward your ruin. They are simply an honest naming of the world as it has long been, the hunger for power, the breaking of peace, the want of daily bread, and the shadow of death over every generation. Scripture does not pretend these hard things away, the way we sometimes wish it would. It tells the truth about them quietly and without flinching. But notice who holds the scroll. Not chaos, not the horsemen themselves, the Lamb, the one who chose to be slain rather than to wound anyone. Nothing opens until he opens it. That is the comfort folded right inside the fear. History is not spinning loose and out of control. It is being read, page by page, by hands that bear the marks of love. And the souls beneath the altar are not forgotten either. They are clothed in white and simply told to rest. And that word, rest, is for you too, here, tonight. Even the trembling of the stars is in the end a kind of promise. Every false and frightening thing will one day be undone, and only what is true and tender will be left standing. So the seals are not a threat aimed at you. They are the slow assurance that the story has an author, that the author is good, and that the ending he is writing toward is peace. And right in the middle of all this shaking, the vision pauses to show you something beautiful. Before any harm is allowed to fall, an angel cries out, "Hold back, wait, until we have sealed the servants of our God on their foreheads." And a great number are sealed, marked as belonging to God, kept safe through whatever comes. And then John looks, and he sees something his counting could never have prepared him for. A great multitude that no one could number, from every nation and tribe and people and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb, dressed in white robes, holding palm branches in their hands. And they are crying out together, "Salvation belongs to our God who sits on the throne and to the Lamb." One of the elders turns to John and asks, "Who are these, dressed in white, and where did they come from?" And John says, "My Lord, you know." And the elder tells him, "These are the ones who came out of the great suffering. They washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb." Notice the direction of that sentence, because it carries an enormous comfort. They came out of the great suffering, out of it, not into it, not stuck forever in the middle of it, but out the other side. Whatever they endured is now behind them, a thing they came through rather than a thing that swallowed them. And there they stand on the far side of all of it, dressed in white, holding palm branches, singing. The suffering was real. The vision never pretends it was small, but it was not the end of their story. It was the doorway they walked through on the way to the throne. And the robes they wear, made white in the blood of the Lamb, tell you that they did not have to clean themselves up first to be welcomed. They were not made white by their own striving. They were made white by the one who loved them. So if you are still in the middle of your own hard stretch tonight, look at this great crowd and hear what it tells you. There is an out, there is a far side. The ones who stand in white before the throne were once exactly where you are, and they came through, and so will you. Not by scrubbing yourself clean enough to deserve it, but by being held and washed and loved by the Lamb, who is also your shepherd. And then comes one of the tenderest promises in the whole of Scripture, a promise to carry with you into the deepest part of the night. They will never be hungry again and never thirsty again. The sun will not beat down on them, nor any scorching heat. For the Lamb in the middle of the throne will be their shepherd, and he will lead them to springs of living water. And God will wipe away every tear from their eyes, every tear, not most of them, not the ones you think you deserve to have wiped away. Every single tear, counted and known and gently dried by the hand of God himself. Hold that as the seals finish opening, the suffering is real, but it is not the end of the multitude in white. It is the thing they came out of, on their way to the springs of living water. And when the seventh and final seal is at last broken, something happens that no one expects. Heaven does not roar, heaven does not thunder, heaven falls completely silent. For about half an hour, there is no sound at all in heaven, only a deep and holy stillness, as if all of creation were drawing one long, slow breath together. Let that silence be the silence of your own quiet room tonight. There is nothing you need to say into it. You can simply rest inside the hush of heaven and let it carry you a little further along. It is worth pausing on how unexpected that silence is. Through all the worship we have heard so far, heaven has been a place of ceaseless sound. The living creatures crying holy without rest, the great multitudes singing, the thunder rolling from the throne. And now, at the breaking of the seventh seal, all of it stops. Heaven holds its breath, and there is something deeply comforting in the idea that even heaven has a moment of complete stillness, that even the place of endless praise knows the value of a silence so deep you could hear your own heart. We so often think that to be close to God we must be doing something, saying something, filling the air. And here is heaven itself, falling utterly quiet, and it is no less holy for the quiet. It may be more so. So if you have no words tonight, if you are too tired to pray anything at all, take heart. There is a holiness in silence. There are half hours in heaven when nothing is said and nothing needs to be. You can let this be one of yours. Then an angel comes and stands at the altar, holding a golden censer, and he is given much incense to offer along with the prayers of all the saints. The smoke of the incense rises, and the prayers rise with it, gently, like a soft mist lifting off still water at dawn. Every quiet prayer ever whispered in the dark, every word too heavy to say out loud, every prayer you thought no one heard, every prayer you weren't even sure how to finish. All of it gathered up and carried, rising before God. Nothing is lost, nothing falls through the cracks. The smallest, most broken prayer you have ever prayed is held in that golden censer, along with all the rest. Stay with that picture a little longer, because it answers one of the loneliest fears a person can have, the fear that our prayers simply vanish, that they go up into an empty sky and dissolve and are forgotten. Here is the vision's answer. There is an altar in heaven, and there is a golden censer, and the prayers of God's people are kept there like precious incense, gathered and treasured, and never thrown away. The prayer you prayed years ago and gave up on, the prayer you could barely get out through your tears, the prayer that was only a single word, or no words at all, only an ache you did not know how to name. All of it is there, held, rising a fragrance before God. You were never speaking into emptiness. You were speaking into a room where every word you offered was caught and kept and cherished. And when the time is right, those very prayers become part of how the world is finally set right. Heaven does not move until the prayers have risen first. Your longing for things to be made right is not ignored. It is the very thing God waits to honor. Then 7 angels who stand before God are given 7 trumpets, and one by one they sound them. As each trumpet calls out, something in the old, tired world is shaken loose. Hail and fire touch the land. A great burning mountain falls into the sea. A star called wormwood falls upon the rivers and makes the waters bitter. The sun and the moon and the stars are dimmed, the way a lamp is turned low at the end of a long day when it is finally time to sleep. And between the trumpets, an eagle flies through the middle of heaven, crying out a warning to the earth, woe, 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 3 times over, the way you would call out to people you love who are walking toward the edge of something they cannot see. Even the warning is a mercy. No one is allowed to stumble into the dark without being called to first. And John watches a mighty angel come down, wrapped in a cloud, with a rainbow over his head and a face like the sun, holding a little open scroll. The angel plants 1 foot on the sea and 1 on the land, as if to say that nothing, not the restless ocean and not the solid earth, lies outside of God's reach. And a voice tells John to take the little scroll and to eat it. It will be sweet as honey in your mouth, the voice says, but it will turn your stomach bitter. And so it is. John eats the word of God, and it is sweet because it is good news, because it ends in light and homecoming. And it is bitter because the road to that homecoming passes through real suffering, and love that is honest never pretends otherwise. That is something to carry with you. The truest comfort is never the kind that lies to you. The word of God is sweet, sweeter than honey, but it does not pretend the night away. It tells you that there is real darkness in the world, and then it tells you, just as truly, that the darkness does not get to win. Both things are held together, the bitter and the sweet, and you are allowed to feel both, even now, even as you rest. Let these images pass before you slowly, the way a sound carries across a valley at night, heard but always far away, never near. You are not inside any of it, you are only listening from a place of peace, and here is the gentle heart of what the trumpets mean. In the ancient world, a trumpet was not only a sound of war, it was the sound that called scattered people together. It was the sound that announced something important was about to happen. It was the sound that woke a sleeping camp at the first light of morning. So the trumpets of Revelation are, beneath all their fire and smoke, a kind of awakening. They are God saying gently but clearly that the world as it is cannot last forever, and that this is mercy, not cruelty. Because if all the wrong in the world could simply go on and on without end, then there would be no hope of it ever being healed. The dimming of the sun, the bittering of the waters, the shaking of the sky, all of it is the language of an old and broken order loosening its grip so that something new and better can finally come. And there is one more comfort woven all through these trumpets, so quiet you could miss it, but once you see it, you will see it everywhere. The darkness is on a leash. Again and again, the harm that goes out is limited, restrained, held within careful bounds. A third of this, a third of that, never the whole. The strange, tormenting creatures that rise from the smoke are told plainly that they may not touch those who are sealed as God's own, and that even their tormenting can last only a set number of months and no longer. Nothing in this vision is allowed to run wild and unchecked. Everything destructive comes with a boundary already drawn around it, a line it cannot cross, a clock already counting down its time. Even at its worst, the darkness is never sovereign. It is always permitted only so far and never one step further. That is a profound comfort for anyone who has ever felt that the hard things in life were limitless, that the suffering could just go on with no end and no edge. The vision says otherwise. There is a third, and not the whole. There is a number of months, and then it stops. There is a seal that the darkness cannot cross. Whatever you are facing, it is not infinite, and it is not unwatched. It has a boundary that someone good has already set, even if you cannot see the edge of it yet. The night is real, but it is measured, and the one who measures it loves you. And notice the small, tender detail tucked right between the trumpets. Before the worst is allowed to fall, the prayers of the saints are gathered first. Here is the comfort, in that your prayers reach God before any judgment does. The cry of the faithful is heard and held and honored before anything else is allowed to move. You are not shouting into an empty sky. You are heard first. Then we meet two witnesses. They stand and they speak the truth for a time, clothed in rough sackcloth, and the world does not welcome them. They are given a kind of power for a while, and then, when their testimony is finished, it seems that the darkness finally swallows them. They are struck down. Their bodies lie in the open street of the great city, and the people of the earth look on and even celebrate, as if the troublesome voice of truth has at last been silenced for good. For a while it even seems that silence and darkness have won, that faithfulness has been struck down and finished, that the long story has ended in defeat. But after a short time, 3.5 days, just long enough for everyone to be sure it was over, the breath of life from God enters them, and they stand up on their feet. And a voice from heaven calls to them, "Come up here," and they rise, and even their enemies watch them go. And the meaning of that is the gentlest promise in this whole movement of the book. Faithfulness may be struck down, but it is never truly ended. What looks like defeat is only a pause before the rising. The witnesses stand again because in the end, life always has the last word over death. If you have ever watched something good and true seem to lose, if you have ever felt that the gentle and faithful and honest things in the world were simply overpowered by everything louder and harder and crueler, hold on to this picture. The story is not over at the part where it looks like defeat. The breath of life is still coming. The voice that says, "Come up here," has not yet finished speaking. What is laid down in faithfulness is never laid down for good. It is only waiting 3.5 days for the breath of God. And so the seventh trumpet sounds, and loud voices in heaven cry out that the kingdom of the world has become the kingdom of our Lord. Not destroyed, not erased, made His, made whole, made right at last. Listen to those trumpets now, far off and gentle, calling quietly across the hills of your sleep, not to frighten you, but to wake the world toward morning. From the rising of the two witnesses and the sounding of that final trumpet, the vision turns upward once more into the heavens, where a great sign appears, a woman and a child, and the long patient love of God unfolding across every age. High in the heavens, a great sign appears, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon beneath her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. She is about to give birth, and she cries out in the pain of her labor. Then a second sign appears, darker than the first, a great red dragon, with 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. He waits before the woman, hoping to devour her child the very moment it is born. But the child is born, a son, and before the dragon can reach him, the child is caught up to God and to His throne, safe beyond the dragon's reach. And the woman flees into the wilderness, into a place God has already prepared for her, where she is kept and fed and watched over. Then there is war in heaven. Michael and his angels rise against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels are thrown down. The great dragon, that ancient serpent, the one who has deceived the whole world, is cast out. And a loud voice declares that the accuser has fallen, and that salvation has come, and the strength and the kingdom of God. Even here in the middle of the conflict, the outcome is already settled. The dragon is loud and full of rage, but he is falling, not rising. And listen to the name the voice gives him, because it tells you exactly what he does and how he is overcome. He is called the accuser, the one who stands before God day and night, accusing God's people, pointing at every failure, every weakness, every reason they should be cast off. That is his oldest work, not fire and thunder, but the quiet, relentless voice that says you are not enough. You have failed too many times. You are not really loved. You do not really belong. If you have ever lain awake, hearing a voice like that in the dark, you have heard the accuser at his work. And here is how he is overcome, in the very words of the vision. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. Not by being perfect, not by silencing the accusations with a better record. They overcame the accuser by belonging to the Lamb who was slain for them, and by holding on to that truth out loud even when the accusing voice was loudest. So when the accusing voice comes for you tonight, and it may, you do not have to win the argument with it. You do not have to prove it wrong, point by point. You only have to remember whose you are. The accuser has already been thrown down. His case has already been overruled by the blood of the Lamb. The voice that says you are not enough is not the voice on the throne. It is the voice of one who is falling, who is running out of time, who has already lost. You can let it fall right past you, all the way down, while you rest in the arms of the one who has already answered every accusation with his love. Cast down to the earth, the dragon gives his power to a beast that rises out of the sea, with 7 heads and 10 horns, and the whole world wanders after it in wonder. But before we look at the beast, do not pass too quickly over the woman in the wilderness, because there is comfort there for anyone who has ever had to run. The dragon, furious that he could not reach the child, turns on her instead, and she is given wings, like the wings of a great eagle, to fly to the place God prepared for her, where she is nourished and kept safe. And when the dragon sends a river roaring after her, trying to sweep her away in the flood, the very earth opens its mouth and swallows the river up. Think of what that means. When the faithful are pursued, when the flood comes for them, creation itself takes their side. The ground becomes their ally. Even the wilderness, that empty and frightening place, turns out to be a place God had already made ready, a shelter prepared in advance before she ever needed to flee to it. If you are in a wilderness tonight, some hard and lonely stretch you did not choose and cannot yet see the end of, hold on to that. The wilderness in this vision is not abandonment. It is a place prepared. It is where the woman is fed and hidden and kept. God does not always lift his people up out of the hard places right away, but he goes ahead of them into those places and makes them ready, so that even the desert becomes a table set for them. Even the flood is swallowed before it can reach them. And a second beast rises from the earth, with 2 horns like a lamb but a voice like the dragon, and it works to make people honor the first. It causes everyone, the small and the great, the rich and the poor, to receive a mark on the right hand or on the forehead. And it sets a number for the name of the beast, a number that has frightened and fascinated people for 2,000 years, the number 666. Let all of these shapes drift by like shadows moving on a wall. Not one of them can touch the one who keeps you. Stay easy, stay still, and let the meaning come to you gently, the way a warm blanket comes to rest over you. The woman clothed with the sun is the faithful people of God, the long family of faith, through whom the promised child comes into the world. The crown of 12 stars gathers up all the generations of the faithful into one shining circle. And there is comfort even in the way she is pictured, this woman in labor, crying out in pain. The vision does not show the faithful people of God as serene and untouched, floating above all difficulty. It shows them in the middle of real anguish, in the hard and frightening work of bringing something new into the world, the way every birth is hard and frightening before it is joyful. And it shows that anguish clothed with the sun, crowned with stars, standing on the moon, robed in glory even in the middle of the pain. That is a picture worth keeping. Glory and struggle are not opposites here. The very people who are crowned with stars are the ones crying out in labor. You do not have to be free of struggle to be clothed in glory. You can be in the hardest, most painful stretch of your life and still be, in the eyes of heaven, robed with the sun and crowned with light. The pain does not cancel the glory. It is woven right through it, and what is being born through all of it, against everything the dragon can do, is life and hope, and a future the enemy is powerless to devour. The dragon is the old enemy, named plainly for us, the serpent from the very first garden, the deceiver. And here is the comfort hidden inside this terrifying picture. The dragon is enormous and loud and full of fury, but he is always too late. He waits to devour the child, and the child is lifted to the throne before he can reach. He chases the woman, and she is already safe inside a place God prepared for her ahead of time. The enemy in this vision is never actually in control. He is always reacting, always falling, always running out of time. The war in heaven has already been won. The accuser has already been thrown down. That is exactly why the voice in heaven sings, instead of trembling. And the beasts and the mark, remember what kind of book this is, and who it was first written for. It was written to people living under enormous pressure, people who were being told to give their deepest loyalty to an empire that demanded worship. The mark on the hand and the forehead is a picture of a life claimed and owned. What you do, shown by the hand, and what you think, shown by the forehead. It is the opposite of an earlier seal in this very vision, where God's own people were marked on their foreheads as belonging to Him. So this is not a riddle placed here to unsettle you in the dark. It is a question asked softly. Whose are you? And if you belong to the Lamb, then you are already sealed, already known, already kept. And what a difference there is between the two ways of being marked. The beast forces its mark on people, claiming them by fear, demanding that they bow or be shut out. But the seal of God is never forced. It is given the way a name is given to a beloved child, the way a ring is given between two people who have chosen each other. To be sealed by God is not to be branded as property. It is to be claimed as family, gently, lovingly, with your own consent. And the seal is on the forehead, in the open, where it can be seen because there is no shame in belonging to Him, nothing to hide, nothing to be embarrassed about. You can wear it like a face turned up toward the light. So the real question underneath all the imagery of beasts and marks is the kindest question imaginable. Will you let yourself be loved? Will you let yourself belong? Will you let the gentle one write his name on you, not to own you, but to keep you? And if your answer, even a tired, half-asleep, barely whispered answer, is yes, then it is already done. You are already sealed, you are already His, and nothing the beast can do, no fear it can stir up, no pressure it can apply, can unwrite a name that love has written. Even the number itself carries a gentle secret. 666 is a number that falls short, again and again, of 7, the number of completeness and of rest. The beast imitates, but it never quite arrives. It is always one step short of the wholeness that only God can give. It can mimic and threaten and roar, but it can never finally be whole, and it can never make you whole. Only the Lamb can do that. There is nothing here for you to solve tonight. You belong to the one who has already won, and that is more than enough. So let the great red dragon and the beasts pass over you, like clouds drifting across the face of the moon, and let the vision carry you onward, toward a harvest, and toward the song of those who come through the fire at last, rescued and unafraid. John sees a lamb standing on Mount Zion, and gathered around him are those who belong to Him, marked not by fear but by His own name written on their foreheads. They are singing a new song, a song so deep that only those who have known mercy can ever learn it. Around the throne the music rises, quiet and steady, like water moving over smooth stones in a stream you cannot see but can hear in the dark. There is a tenderness in this scene that is easy to miss. Earlier in the vision, the beast marked its people on the hand and the forehead, claiming them, owning them. And here in answer, the Lamb's people are marked too, but with His name and His Father's name written gently on their foreheads. The difference between the two marks is the difference between being seized and being loved, between being branded as property and being claimed as family. And the song they sing can only be learned by those who have been through something, those who have known what it is to be rescued. It is not a song you can learn from a distance or pick up from a book. It is the song of people who were once afraid and are not afraid anymore. And that is why it is so deep and why it rises so steadily like water that has been flowing for a very long time. Then John sees angels flying through the midst of heaven, each one carrying a word. The first angel carries good news, an everlasting gospel meant for every nation and tribe and tongue. Even here in the middle of the harvest, the message is not panic. It is an invitation offered to everyone who will listen, to turn toward the one who made the heavens and the earth and the sea and the springs of water. And then comes a vision of harvest, of a field grown ripe and ready, and of the long, sure unfolding of justice, the moment when every hidden wrong is finally weighed and answered, so that nothing broken is ever simply forgotten, and nothing cruel is left forever standing. A harvest can sound frightening, but think about what a harvest truly is underneath the sharp image of the sickle. A harvest is the day the patient waiting finally ends. All through the long growing season, the wheat and the weeds grow up together, tangled in the same field, and you cannot always tell which is which. And it can seem for a long time as if nothing is ever sorted out, as if the cruel and the kind simply go on side by side forever with no difference made between them. The harvest is the day that ends. It is the day the patient farmer says, "Now at last, everything will be gathered and seen for what it truly is." For everyone who has ever cried out at the unfairness of the world, who has ever watched the cruel prosper and the gentle suffer, and wondered whether anyone was keeping account, the harvest is the answer. Yes, someone is keeping account. Nothing is lost in the long grass. Nothing slips by unseen. There is a day when the field is gathered, and justice, real justice, the kind we have ached for our whole lives, finally comes. And that is not a thing to dread if your heart longs to see things put right. It is a thing to long for. It means the waiting is not forever. It means the wrong does not win. After the harvest, John sees 7 angels with 7 last plagues, and 7 golden bowls are placed into their hands. The bowls are poured out one after another, on the earth and the sea and the rivers, on the sun and the throne of the beast and the great river and the air. And as they are poured, a voice from the altar says something striking. "True and righteous are your judgments." The point of the bowls is not cruelty for its own sake. It is the setting right of everything that had gone so terribly wrong, the answering of all the blood that was spilled, the day when the scales that had been so badly tipped are finally, fully balanced. It is justice, long delayed, finally arriving, and a world that has groaned under unfairness for so long can let out a long breath when justice at last comes home. But before the bowls are poured, look who is standing there. Those who have come through the great trial, gathered beside a sea of glass mingled with fire, holding harps in their hands, and they are singing the song of Moses and the song of the Lamb. "Great and marvelous are your works," they sing, "just and true are your ways." Let that be the sound you hold here, the sound of the rescued singing on the far shore, having made it through, safe at last. There is something deeply moving about which song they choose to sing. The song of Moses was the song sung long ago on the far side of the sea, after the people had walked through the water on dry ground and watched the thing that had enslaved them swallowed up behind them. It was the song of people who had been delivered, who had escaped what was chasing them, who stood at last on a safe shore and could hardly believe they had made it. And here, at the end of all things, that same ancient song of deliverance rises again, joined now to the song of the Lamb, sung by a new crowd of rescued people standing on a new safe shore. It is the oldest song there is, the song that every freed and rescued and delivered soul has always sung, and it is being sung again by people just like you, who were once afraid and trapped and unsure they would make it, and who now stand on the far side, free, looking back at everything that once held them, and singing. One day that song will be yours to sing. One day you will stand on the far shore and look back at all of this, all the fear, and all the striving, and all the long nights, and you will understand that you made it through, and the song will rise in you, almost without your meaning it to, the way it always rises in those who have been set free. Now let us sit gently with what these bowls and this falling city truly mean, so that your mind can settle instead of strain. The 7 bowls echo the 7 seals, and the 7 trumpets that came before them. 3 rounds of 7, each one a deeper telling of the same patient truth. They are not 7 different disasters, stacked higher and higher until you cannot breathe. They are the same story told again and again, with greater and greater clarity, the way a single dream returns to you through one long night until, at last, you understand what it was trying to say. And the heart of it is simply this: God will not let evil run on forever. What is poured out is not the cruelty of heaven. It is the consequence of a world that turned away from the one who made it, now finally reaching its appointed end. Then John names a city, and he calls her Babylon the Great. But Babylon is not only a place on an ancient map. In the language of this vision, Babylon is every empire that has ever built itself on pride, on luxury wrung out of the suffering of others, on the quiet, comfortable lie that a person can live forever without God. She sits gleaming, certain that she will never mourn, certain that nothing can touch her. And then in a single hour she falls, and the lament that rises over her fall is one of the most revealing passages in the whole book, because of who weeps and what they weep for. The kings who profited from her weep, the merchants who grew rich from her weep, the shipmasters who carried her endless cargo weep. And John lists everything they had bought and sold, the gold and silver and jewels, the fine linen and silk and scarlet, the spices and wine and oil, the cattle and horses and chariots. And then, at the very end of that long and glittering list, almost easy to miss, come three small words that change everything: and slaves, that is, human souls. There it is. That is what Babylon was always built on, underneath all the gold and silk. People treated as cargo, human beings counted as merchandise, and the merchants do not weep for them. They weep only because no one is left to buy their goods. Their grief is entirely for their lost profit, and not at all for the lives that were spent to make it. And in that, the vision quietly tells you what every empire of pride truly is, no matter how beautiful it looks from the outside. It is a way of getting rich on souls and calling it success. So when Babylon falls, heaven does not mourn. Heaven rejoices, not out of cruelty, but because the long injustice is finally over, because the system that fed on people has finally collapsed, because the souls who were treated as cargo have a God who remembered them and did not forget a single one. The merchants weep. But notice what they weep for, not for her people, for their own lost trade, their own lost profit. And the meaning of all this is tender, not frightening. The vision is showing you that everything built on selfishness is, in the end, fragile. The towers that look the most unshakable are already passing away. And for the weary soul lying in the dark tonight, this is meant as a comfort. Whatever vast and heavy thing seems to rule the world right now, whatever power feels far too large to ever change, it is not where the story ends. It will not outlast the love that made you. A voice from heaven calls out to God's people, and it says, "Come out of her, my people. Come away from what is passing and come home." You are invited into something that does not fall, something that cannot be shaken, a kingdom that will still be standing long after every empire of fear has crumbled into dust. There is great tenderness in those words, "Come out of her, my people." It is not a command barked at strangers. It is the voice of someone calling their own family home before the storm. My people. He calls them his even as he calls them out. And the calling out is not punishment. It is rescue. It is the voice you would use to call your own children in out of a house that is no longer safe, urgent and loving at once, not because you are angry with them, but because you cannot bear for them to be caught in what is coming. So if some part of your life tonight is tangled up in the things that are passing, the striving, the comparing, the endless hunger to have more and be more that never once satisfies, hear that voice as the voice of love and not of threat. Come out, come home, not because you are being driven away from something, but because you are being drawn towards something far better, a home that does not fall. So you can loosen your grip on the worries of the day. You can let go of the things that felt so enormous a few hours ago. The kingdoms of fear are temporary, The kingdom of the Lamb is forever, and you belong to it. Let the sound of the falling city grow distant now until it is only a far-off memory, and the air is left clean and still. The harvest is gathered, the bowls are poured, the empire built on pride has slipped quietly into the past. And now the vision turns toward a wedding, and toward a rider called Faithful and True, who is coming home. In this part of the story, heaven opens, not with terror, but with singing. Listen, and let the sound come over you, warm and unhurried. A great voice like the roar of many waters and the soft rolling of gentle thunder rises up in praise. Over and over it sings one word, Hallelujah. It simply means praise the Lord, and it rolls through the heavens like a tide that has been building for a very long time and is finally allowed to break. And before the rider on the white horse appears, there is a wedding. A voice announces that the marriage of the Lamb has come, and that his bride has made herself ready. And she is given fine linen, bright and clean to wear, and we are told very gently what the fine linen is. It is the righteous acts of the saints. Think of that. All the small, hidden, faithful things ordinary people have done across the centuries, the quiet kindnesses no one saw, the patient endurance no one praised, the love given when it cost something and brought no reward, all of it is gathered up and woven into a wedding dress. Nothing good was ever wasted. Nothing faithful was ever lost. Every act of love you have ever offered into the dark, thinking no one noticed, is being woven, even now, into something beautiful that you will one day wear. And blessed, the voice says, are those who are invited to the wedding supper of the Lamb. You are invited. That is what all of this has been moving toward. Not a courtroom, but a wedding feast. Not an interrogation, but a table set for a celebration, with your place already laid. And then the one who has waited so long appears. Heaven opens, and a rider comes forth on a white horse. His name is Faithful, and his name is True. His eyes are like a quiet flame. Upon his head are many crowns, more crowns than you could ever count. And he is clothed in a robe, and on the robe and on his thigh a name is written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. But he does not come to frighten you. He comes to set things right at last, to gather his own people home, and to wipe away every wrong that was ever done. The long night of the world is ending, and the King is coming home. Let that be enough for now. The good King has come, and he knows your name, and he is not angry with you. He has come for you. Let me draw out what this picture means, so your heart can ease into it. The rider on the white horse is the Lamb we met before, the gentle one who was wounded for us. Once he came quietly as a baby in a manger, carried by a young mother through a small and ordinary town, and almost no one noticed. Here he comes openly as the King he always truly was. That is the truth beneath all the crowns and the white horse. The very same gentle love that once knelt down to wash tired and dusty feet is the love that now rules over everything that exists. Power and tenderness are not two different things in him. In him they are one. And notice this, the robe is already dipped before the battle is even fought. The victory is already won. He carries no swords in his hand at all. The only sword is the word that comes from his mouth, because his truth alone is enough to set the whole world free. He does not need to strike anyone down. He only needs to speak, and what is false simply cannot stand before what is true. And so there is nothing in his coming for you to dread, if your heart longs for things to be made right. We sometimes carry a quiet, unspoken fear about the return of God, as though it were the arrival of a stern judge come to catch us out, to total up our failures, to find us wanting. But look again at who this rider truly is. He is the Lamb. He is the friend who washed feet. He is the one who wept at a grave and reached for the untouchable and forgave from a cross. When he comes home, he does not come as a stranger you have every reason to fear. He comes as the one who has loved you all along, finally arriving to gather you up and take you home. For those who have been waiting for him, His coming is not the thing to be afraid of. It is the thing they have been longing for. It is the sound of footsteps you recognize. It is the face you have been hoping to see your whole life, at last turning the corner and coming into view. Then comes a long, long age of peace, often pictured as 1,000 years. For all that time, the deceiver is bound and chained in the deep, and the world finally knows what it has always longed for. Those who held fast, even to the end, even through suffering, come to life and reign with the King in safety and gladness. Whatever the exact length of that 1,000 years, the meaning of it is pure comfort. It is a promise that evil does not get the last word, and that there will be a long, wide season of rest, where the tears have dried and the fear is gone, and nothing comes in the night to wake you. Imagine for a moment a stretch of time so long and so safe that the very idea of danger begins to fade from memory. 1,000 years with the deceiver chained, 1,000 years with no accusing voice in the dark, no enemy prowling at the edges, no fear waiting around the next corner. We have lived so long with low, constant fear that we hardly notice it anymore, the way you stop hearing a noise that never stops. We brace ourselves out of habit. We sleep with one ear open, and the vision holds out a season so secure that all of that bracing can finally, fully unclench, a rest not measured in hours but in ages, a peace so deep and so long that the body forgets how to be afraid. That is what waits at the end of all the striving. And even now, tonight, you are allowed a small foretaste of it, permission to let your guard down, to stop bracing, to rest as if the enemy were already chained, because in the deepest truth of the story, his ending is already written. And at the very end, when the last shadow rises one final time, it is undone in a single moment. The great enemy is cast away forever. The dragon troubles the world no more. Then the books are opened, and one more book, the book of life, in which the names of the beloved are written. And if you trust the Lamb, your name is safe there, in his keeping, written in a hand that does not erase. Let me sit with you for a moment beside that great white throne, because it can sound like the most frightening scene of all, and it is not meant to be. The dead, great and small, stand before the throne and the books are opened. Every life is seen, fully, finally, in the clear light of perfect goodness, with nothing hidden and nothing pretended. And yes, that is a solemn thing, but notice that there is a second book, and it is the one that matters most. It is not the book of deeds. It is the book of life, the book of names, and the question at the throne, underneath everything, is not, were you impressive enough? It is not, did you earn your way? It is your name written here? Are you one whom the Lamb has claimed and loved and called his own? Justice is real, and the wrongs of the world are finally answered. But the deepest thing at the throne is not a ledger of how good you managed to be. It is a book of names written by a hand that does not erase what love has written. And there is one more mercy in this scene that should make you breathe easier as you rest. Death itself, the last enemy, the shadow that has chased every living thing since the beginning, is thrown into the fire and ended. Death and the grave are not honored guests at the end of the story. They are the very things destroyed, the thing you have feared, perhaps quietly, perhaps for your whole life, is itself put to death at the end. The grave does not get the last word. It gets swallowed up, so when you lie down in the dark tonight and feel, as everyone sometimes does, the nearness of all that ends, you can remember how the story finishes. Not with death triumphant, but with death undone, and the book of life still open, and your name, if you have trusted the Lamb, written there in a hand that will never let it be erased. There is no striving left in this scene at all. There is only a king who has come home, an enemy who is finished for good, and a peace that will never again be broken. Let that hallelujah fall over you now, like a soft and steady rain, the kind of rain you can fall asleep to. The king has come. The old enemy is gone. The long age of peace is opened wide like a meadow under a calm and starlit sky. And still there is more, because the old heaven and the old earth are quietly slipping away now, like a long day giving way at last to a gentle night. And what comes next is the most beautiful part of all, and it is made entirely of light. John lifts his eyes, and he sees something entirely new. A new heaven and a new earth. The first heaven and the first earth have quietly gone, and so has the sea, that old image of chaos and separation and depth. Where there was once distance, now there is only nearness, and then he sees her, a city coming down out of heaven from God, shining like a bride dressed for the one she loves. This is the New Jerusalem. Let the picture form slowly in your mind, the way a beautiful place forms when someone you trust is describing it to you in the dark. Walls of clear stone that glow like jewels, gates of pearl, 12 of them, and not one of them is ever shut, because night never comes here, and there is nothing left to fear. Streets like gold, so pure it is almost like glass, and from the very center the throne of God and of the Lamb. And out of that throne, a river, bright as crystal, flowing right down the middle of the street. On either bank grows the tree of life, heavy with fruit in every season, and its leaves are for the healing of the nations. And the city is built on 12 foundations, each one a single precious stone. And as the angel names them, John lists them the way you would describe something almost too beautiful to take in all at once: jasper and sapphire, emerald and topaz, amethyst and all the rest, a foundation of jewels glowing with every color there is. The 12 gates are 12 single pearls, each gate carved from one enormous pearl, and over each gate is written the name of one of the tribes of God's ancient people, and on the 12 foundations are written the names of the 12 apostles. Do you see what that means? The whole long family of faith, from the very oldest beginnings to the very last, is built right into the architecture of the city. No one is left out of the foundations. The city is made of all of them together. Every generation that ever held on, every name that was ever written in the book of life, set like jewels into the walls of home. And there is one thing the city does not have, and its absence is the most beautiful thing of all. John looks for the temple, the holy place where in the old world, people went to draw near to God, the one room where heaven and earth were said to touch. And he cannot find it. There is no temple in the city, and the reason is overwhelming in its tenderness. There is no temple because the whole city has become the place where God dwells. There is no special room where you have to go to be near him, because there is no longer any distance to cross. The Lord God and the Lamb are themselves the temple. The nearness that the old world could only reach in one sacred room for one sacred moment has spilled out to fill every street and every corner forever. And the city needs no sun and no moon, because the glory of God is its light, and the Lamb is its lamp. There will never be a sunset there, never a fading, never a coming on of the dark, because the light at the center never dims and never sets. And a great voice speaks over it all, the tenderest words in the whole of Scripture. Look, the home of God is now among people. He will live with them, and they will be his, and he himself will be with them. And he will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, no more grief, no more crying, no more pain, for the old order of things has passed away. And then the voice from the throne says something you should hold on to with both hands. Behold, it says, I am making all things new. Notice the words with great care, because they are more tender than they first appear. It does not say, I am making all new things, as though everything you have known and loved will simply be thrown away and replaced with something unfamiliar. It says, I am making all things new, the same things, the very things that were broken, made new, not discarded, but restored, not erased, but healed. Every good thing that was ever spoiled, every relationship that was ever wounded, every part of you that grew tired and bent and scarred along the way, taken up gently and made new, the way you always secretly hoped it could be, but never quite believed was possible. And then, almost as if to make sure John writes it down and we do not miss it, the voice adds, "These words are faithful and true." As if to say, you can lean your whole weight on this. This is not a wish. This is not a maybe. This is a promise from the one who does not lie, and he is staking his own faithfulness on it. And think of what it means that there is no more sea. Through the whole book, the sea has stood for chaos, for the deep and restless dark, for all the churning uncertainty that threatens to pull a person under. And in the new world, it is simply gone, not tamed, not fenced off, but gone entirely, because there is no more chaos left for it to picture. Whatever in your life has felt like a churning, bottomless sea, the worry that will not settle, the fear that rises in the small hours, the sense of being out of your depth and unable to touch the bottom, in the world that is coming, there is no more of that. The waters that frightened you are not just calmed, they are no longer there at all, and the meaning of it is the comfort to hold as you finally drift towards sleep. All through Revelation, the imagery has climbed and crashed like waves. Beasts and battles and bowls poured out, seals and trumpets and trembling stars. But notice where the whole book has been quietly heading the entire time. Not toward destruction, toward a wedding, not toward an ending, toward a homecoming. The heart of the New Jerusalem is this: heaven is not some far-off place that we have to climb up and reach by our own strength. It is a city that comes down. God moves toward us. He always has, the whole long story of the Bible, which began in a garden with a tree of life and a river, now closes with a garden city, the same tree, the same river, restored and overflowing. Everything that was lost at the very beginning is gently given back at the end, and more besides. Think of the gates that are never shut. In the ancient world, a city closed its gates at night against thieves and enemies and danger. But this city has no night and no danger, and so the gates simply stay open forever, a quiet picture of a welcome that never once withdraws, a door that is never closed against you, no matter how late you come. Hold that image close, because it speaks to one of our oldest fears, the fear of arriving too late, of finding the door already shut, of being the one left standing outside in the cold while everyone else got in. There are gates in this city, 12 of them, each carved from a single pearl, and we are told something astonishing about them. They are never shut, not at evening, because there is no evening, not against danger, because there is no danger left, not against the latecomer, because there is no such thing as too late at a gate that never closes. You can come at any hour, from any direction, carrying any history, and the gate will be open, because it is always open, because it was made to be always open. There is no version of this story where you arrive, and the door has been locked against you. The welcome does not keep closing hours. It does not run out of patience. It does not finally give up on you and bolt the door. The gates of home stand open, and they will keep standing open, waiting for as long as it takes you to come in. Think of the leaves of the tree given for the healing of the nations. Even at the very close of the book, after all the thunder, the language is not of revenge, but of mending, of peoples once divided being made whole together. Linger on that river and that tree for a moment, because they have been waiting for you since the very first page of the Bible. The whole great story opened long ago in a garden with a tree of life and a river flowing out of it, and a God who walked with people in the cool of the day, close and unhurried and unafraid. And then something broke, and the way to the tree was lost, and the long ache of the whole world began, the ache of distance, of exile, of a home remembered but no longer reached. And now on the very last page, here is the river again. Here is the tree of life again, growing on both banks, heavier with fruit than ever, its leaves spread out for healing. The thing that was lost at the beginning is given back at the end, and not just restored but multiplied. The garden has become a city. big enough now for all the nations, and the God who once walked in the cool of the day has come to stay forever. Nothing that was lost is finally lost. The whole arc of the story bends back toward the home you were made for. And think of those tender words that God Himself comes to dry your tears. Not an angel sent in His place, not a distant comfort relayed through someone else. God, near enough to reach your face with His own hand. The truth beneath all the thunder of this book is astonishingly simple. You were made to be with God, and one day, every sorrow you have ever carried will be tenderly, personally, individually undone. The book of the end is, underneath it all, a book of hope. So let these be the last images you hold as you sink towards sleep. The gates that never close, the river clear as crystal, the tree heavy with healing, and the face of God close enough to touch. That last one is perhaps the most wonderful of all, and the most easily overlooked. So let it settle into you before everything else goes quiet. They will see His face. The vision says, in the old world, no one could see the face of God and live. It was too much, too bright, too holy, a glory no human eye could bear. People met Him in clouds and fire, and from a careful distance behind veils, through priests. In one sacred room they could enter only rarely and only with great care. And here at the very end, that distance is simply gone. They will see His face. The thing that was impossible for the whole long history of the world becomes the most ordinary and natural thing imaginable, like a child looking up into the face of a parent who has come to sit beside the bed. No veil, no distance, no fear, just His face turned toward you, close enough to see the kindness in His eyes, close enough for His hand to reach your cheek and wipe the last tear away. That is where all of this has been going, from the very first page. Not to a throne you cower before, but to a face you finally get to see. Not to a God who keeps His distance, but to a God who comes near enough to be looked upon and loved and known. All that once frightened the night has passed away. The seals are opened, and the trumpets have sounded and fallen silent. The dragon is gone, and the sea has given up its dead, and what remains is only light, a city of gold and a clear, quiet river. There is nothing left to watch for, and nothing left to fear. The long book has carried us all the way home, to a place where the gates never close, because the night is no longer coming. So here is everything we have walked through tonight, gathered into one breath. We began on a lonely island with a frightened man and 4 soft words, "Do not be afraid." We stood among 7 golden lamps and heard a voice that knew each little church by name and said, "I know." We were lifted into a throne room of light and met a lamb stronger than any lion. We watched the seals open and saw a multitude in white, whose every tear was wiped away. We heard the trumpets call the world toward morning, and watched faithfulness rise again after it seemed to fall. We saw a dragon who was always too late, and were asked the only question that mattered, "Whose are you?" We watched an empire of pride fall in a single hour and heard a voice say, "Come home." We saw a king ride home crowned with mercy and a long age of peace open wide. And we ended here at the New Jerusalem, where God Himself comes down to dwell with us and to dry every tear. 10 small stories, and yet when you hold them all together in your hands, you find they were never really 10 separate things at all. They were 10 windows into one single truth, told over and over, so that it would finally sink all the way down past the fear and into the deep, quiet center of you. The truth is this: you are not alone, and you are not forgotten, and the story does not end in the dark. From the first word on the island to the last word at the open gate, the whole book is one long act of reassurance, one steady voice saying, again and again and in 100 different images, "Do not be afraid. You are held. You are coming home." The seals and the trumpets and the bowls were never the message. They were only the weather the message had to travel through. And the message, when it finally arrives, is as simple as a hand laid gently on a frightened shoulder. Love wins. Love outlasts everything that frightened you. Love is waiting at the end of the road with the gates thrown open and your name already written down. Beneath all its thunder and its strange and shining creatures, the book of Revelation was never written to frighten the weary. It was written to comfort them. It was given to people who were tired and afraid, so that they would know, all the way down, how the story ends. And the ending is gentle. It is worth saying plainly, as the night deepens, just how upside down this is from the way the book is so often used. For so long, Revelation has been turned into a thing to be afraid of, a catalog of terrors, a countdown to dread. But that was never its purpose, and it was never how the first people who heard it understood it. They were not powerful people looking for a weapon. They were small and frightened people, under real pressure, wondering whether their faithfulness was pointless, whether the empire would simply grind them down and forget them, whether God had noticed them at all. And into that fear, this book came, not as a threat, but as a letter from home. It said, "The throne is not empty. The Lamb has already won. Your prayers rise like incense, and not one of them is lost. The accuser has already been thrown down. Your tears are counted, every single one, and there is a day coming when not one of them will remain." That is what Revelation was always for. It is the most reassuring book in the Bible, wearing the most frightening costume. And once you see the face beneath the costume, you cannot unsee how kind it is. So hear the promise one more time as the night closes in. God Himself will be with them and be their God, and He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and there will be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying, nor any more pain, for the former things have passed away. That is the truth beneath every seal and every trumpet and every bowl, not destruction for its own sake, but the clearing away of everything that ever hurt you, so that only love is left standing. The Lamb who was slain becomes the lamp of the whole city. The God who once seemed so far away becomes the one who lives among us, close enough to dry your cheeks with His own hand. You can rest in that, wherever you are tonight. However heavy this day has been, the last word of the whole Bible is not wrath. It is welcome, it is home, it is come. In fact, that is almost the very last word the book speaks. Near the end, the Spirit and the bride say, "Come," and whoever hears is invited to say it too, "Come." And then the invitation widens out to anyone at all who is thirsty, anyone who wants it. Come and take the water of life freely, without cost, without earning it, without having to be worthy first. That is how the long and thundering book chooses to end. Not with a door slammed shut, but with a door held open and a voice saying, "Come," and a river of life offered freely to anyone who is thirsty. If you are thirsty tonight, for peace, for rest, for the sense that you are loved, and that everything will somehow be all right, that invitation is for you. Come, the water is free. You do not have to bring anything but your thirst, so receive this blessing as the night settles over you. May the peace of the one who sits upon the throne rest over you like a warm and quiet covering. May you know, even in your sleep, that every tear is counted, and that one day not a single one of them will remain. May the gentleness of the Lamb, who became the lamp of the city, be the last light you carry down into rest. May the river that flows from the throne run quietly through your dreams. And may you wake gently, held by the God who makes all things new, the God who is the beginning and the end, the first and the last, the one who was and is to come. Rest now, you are safe, and you are loved. Let the river run quietly on, and let the light of the city watch over your sleep until the morning comes. Good night, and may God keep you.